Kyle here from All Media Reviews. Here to do a review slash quick video blog, and then I'm going to try to do a video, another entry into the vinyl collection series. So the review first. I'll get into some of the. Well, I'll do sort of the video blog first. So a couple things that just came out. Today is September 19th. Just finally found out November 17th. The Polyphonic Spree are finally releasing their follow-up. Their first album in it's 7 years. Yes, it's true, it was the last one they released. I think it was 2015, 2016. It's called Salvage Enterprise, and there have been listening parties and everything like that. And they put out the first song, the opening track, which continues the sections series of track. I know they're connected. It's called Galloping Seas. It's pretty damn good. I mean, it's kind of spacey, almost kind of Pink Floyd-y and everything. So I don't know about Salvage Enterprise, Polyphonic Spree, a band I like. I was revisiting some of their older stuff today, and even the Fragile Army stuff that I showed on camera a few days ago. I was thinking about last year in 2022 with Midlake, and even earlier this year a little bit with Dream to Electric Sleep and East of the Wall, where they're bands I've liked, but I really don't expect something fantastic to come out. And this album, Salvage Enterprise, has been in the making for many years. And sometimes when you spend a lot of time and you kind of keep working on it and just go back to it and everything, and time benefits. Now sometimes it's the opposite, you overthink it. Think of Imogen Heap's album Ellipsis. So yeah, that's coming out November 17th. Looking forward to that. Unfortunate news I read just also that John Oliva, Sabotage, had an accident with his spine. He slipped on some floor or something like that, some tile floor or something, and the Sabotage album isn't done, but, it's still thinking they're going to be able to make it coming out next year, but, there's some other stuff that I haven't even talked about that I'm not remembering. Well, tour-wise, I didn't realize that Warpaint is opening for, which is a hybrid. I don't know how this works exactly, because I know Ben Gibbard's bands, the Postal Service and Death Cab for Cutie. Death Cab for Cutie, the more commercially successful of the two, but Warpaint's opening for them. They're going to be playing in Minneapolis on Saturday night at the Armory. Tickets are $147 plus, and the fees and everything. Plus it's my wedding anniversary that weekend, and so Music Soul Child, who's a music MUSIQ, is an artist my wife has loved for a long time, but she's never seen live. He's also playing 6 shows and 3 nights at the Dakota. Those are all sold out. Both those shows we didn't know about. I follow Warpaint's Instagram. They didn't mention anything about that, probably because they're opening. My wife just didn't keep tabs on that, but, again, in fairness, the price and going to the Dakota, it's going to be crammed in and stuff. That you can get tickets as a standing room, but I don't think we're going to go, unfortunately. So, rain check on that. I want to see Warpaint again. I love their record from last year, Radiate Like This, a lot. So, but there's a couple other albums albums that have come out. Well, I didn't even mention the Lack Thereof, did I? I love Menomina. I showed my Menomina vinyl a week ago or whenever that was. Danny Seim, the drummer of Menomina, who does vocals, of course, has a project called Lack Thereof, but had not released anything under that name since 2007, 2008. It was at least 15 or 16 years ago. Maybe he had announced it a few weeks ago, I don't know, but I follow him on Instagram, and he put out the record. The record was called New Aviation or something like that. And I'm liking it. Lack Thereof. I don't remember the name of it. It's not New Aviation. It's New Devonian, rather. New Devonian. So I only listened to it twice, and it's not that different than there's some of the other stuff. Although some of the songs are a little catchier. So not that I think it's going to be in the top of my albums of the year list necessarily, but another one of those sort of out of nowhere records that you hear about. So, and I've noticed in a lot of this stuff this happens so often, it frustrates me. I'm happy, but I'm frustrated at the same time, where all these bands that talk about albums that are going to come out soon, they don't get them out. They get them out at the end of the year, and it's like they're cramming, and it's like they spend the whole year making the album. Ben Sinister and Small League Sing Ship haven't announced anything official, although Small League Sing Ships have sort of announced the album's coming out in October. Well, we're almost in October. It's September 19th now. And Ben Sinister's put out 4 songs off 2 singles, which are just fantastic, but no information about the album. So, Brian Scary may not be putting albums out this year. He may. It could be completely based on a what he does with his newly launched Patreon, which I may consider signing up. I've gotten so into him. The Reign of Kindo. Now, this is mostly because I've been privy to. I went to the town hall last week on the Patreon. Their new record probably ain't gonna be coming out this year, but it's probably gonna end up being a double album, which could be pretty cool. But probably not till next year. So, and then Dirt Poor Robin's, Firebird and everything, they've announced there's 2 songs that are coming out next month. They have dates for them. But they were talking about the album coming. I mean, last year, Queen of the Night came out, I think, officially in November. So, let me just pull this up again with Dirt Poor Robin. So we're getting a Casey Crescenzo video, interesting, on the Deer Hunters Instagram. I know one of them's coming out the first weekend. It's 2 songs. One's called "You'll Never Hear It Coming." That one, let's see here, officially is going to be released on the 20th of October. And then Fever Dream is coming out on the 3rd of October. But Neil doesn't give the details about when the album's going to come out. So I'm wondering one of 2 things. I'm wondering if it comes out digitally, just like Queen of the Night, maybe in November or December, possibly. Or they're going to wait till next year to press it on vinyl and then put it out. I know he said it's definitely coming out on vinyl, but I mean, Queen of the Night never did. At this point, at some point will. But anyway, so that's kind of some of the new releases that are coming out and have come out. Well, Team Me put out a new album like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. That was, I didn't anticipate. They were putting out singles, but then they made a statement. This is the last single releasing before the new album comes out. Second album in as many years. I have some new vinyl right here, which, I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm going to do that in a separate video. I don't know if I'm going to do it before or after I finish this whole series. Because I've ordered some other stuff. I found one record that I'm totally... When I made that couple of those videos with albums that I wanted on vinyl that weren't on, a lot of them either had come out or came out recently, I just finally found. So there's one that I found the other day for a reasonable price I'm really excited about. There's a few others that I've just been finding for reasonable prices. Unfortunately, a band like I'll just spoil a little bit. A band like Spock's Beard, their vinyl records are just, you're looking at paying triple digits with a lot of them, and I can't justify that, unfortunately, as much as I love them. So I think that's about it. So I want to get into the review before this video goes too long, and I don't have time to do the other video. But so the Mavericks, this is a band that my wife has been a fan of for a number of years. I didn't realize how long they've been around, but they're from, it's Raul Malo. He's from Florida, but I mean, he has a background like with, you could call it country music, but also like sort of Tex-Mex, Latin music, Afro-Cuban jazz. Swing. He's a big fan of like, because Tony Bennett, he talked about the show, and also even Jimmy Buffett, which I have mixed feelings about him, even though rest in peace. So I went to the show last Saturday night with my wife, not really knowing. I mean, she could have seen them at the Minnesota State Fair many years ago. It was like 98 degrees for free, but she always regretted it. But he talked about that. Raul at the show talked about playing there, and it was just disgustingly hot out. But they were rather good. I mean, very, very. It's got a very tight band. Stylistically, having not heard that much of their music, only from when my wife has played it, I would not describe their music as country exactly. I would describe it as kind of a mixture of like retro, swing, old-time rock and roll, mixed with jazz and maybe a little blues, but more, a lot of like Afro-Cuban jazz and some improvisation, or you could say energetic horn sections, because they're soloing. So, there's one song that Raoul's known for that he does a march. He did an acoustic section where he did cover Margaritaville, which I thought was really good. The song he did before that, As Long As There's Loving Tonight, the energy was fantastic, because he has 2 trumpet players, trombonist, or one of them plays both trombone and trumpet, an accordion player, I think a saxophone player, and, I mean, they're just very energetic. The crowd, though, I couldn't believe it, was very, it was definitely, we were one of the youngest people there. Definitely a different generation, even though Raoul's only like 58. And, they totally played to the crowd. The crowd got into it. People were dancing. But then I was just playing air drums and stuff. I mean, this isn't Prague. But I mean that some of the jazz elements really worked. It was like, I was thinking like Pancho Sanchez. But I mean, there's one piece they did that was a swing part. I think it might be I Will Be Yours. I think so. No, Every Little Thing About You, that's the one. I think that's the marching one. But I think it's I Will Be Yours. Maybe Dance in the Moonlight. One of those tracks. That was like Pancho Sanchez. That was like a, not Pancho, Duke Ellington or Dizzy Gillespie. Like a Dizzy Gillespie, Afro-Cuban, like, you know, Manteca. When I hear that stuff, I am totally in. I mean, I guess it could be a little repetitive, but when I hear Afro-Cuban jazz with the piano, that offbeat piano stuff, I love it. That's what I love when Pancho Sanchez did Manteca and Hermeto Pascual. Tito Puente, I'm thinking of. Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, the Mavericks, give my wife credit. I mean, as much as her taste, she doesn't like a lot of my music. A lot of her music, a lot of the live shows have been really good. When I see Mayor Hawthorne oftentimes, when I see, not every Mayor Hawthorne, Josh Rouse, a lot of her favorite bands, you know, Raphael Sadiq, the first time we saw him, yeah, and I mean, the Janet Jackson show we went to was not as good, but that wasn't even her show. That was a friend of ours. It was entertaining, but it was more of a like a dance thing than an actual concert. But the Mavericks, yeah, they filled that place almost to it was almost the capacity at State Theater on Saturday nights, and I would definitely see them again. I don't know if I'll ever get into their studio albums that much, but yeah, they put on a great show, great musicians, and again, you know, it was very jazzy at points. That my wife doesn't like jazz, but you know, it's kind of like Carlos Santana. I was like, yeah, Carlos Santana, man. You know. I mean, you know, it's not it's not Mexican, but you know, her love of Michael Nesmith, of course, and she likes, you know, the documentary we saw. You know, the guys that sort of roots, sort of country rock from in Texas country rock. Which I'll remember the name I'm not thinking of right now later, that we saw the documentary about, Doug Fromm. I think it's Doug Fromm. Doug Fromm and, the Burrito Brothers, I think it is. You know, Nesmith should have crossed paths with some of those people in his sort of origins and stuff, so. Yeah, I mean, if you've seen the Mavericks, I'd love to hear what your take is on them, if you're a fan of them. Or if you haven't seen them, you're thinking about seeing them, I would totally recommend it, because they put on a really good show. And Raul Malo, I guess he has an extensive solo career that my wife knew before the Mavericks, because the Mavericks only go back to the 90s. But anyway, so that's my take on my review of that show. I'll be doing some more concert reviews, not obviously Warpaint or Music Soul Child, but Peter Gabriel, The Deer Hunter, and everything. But thank you for watching. If you subscribed recently, thank you for subscribing. But please subscribe if you have not subscribed, and I'll see you next time.